You are watching Gouche Live, featuring Paul Rosen, brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and, of course, Sports Illustrated.
And Paramount Sports Management, where we will give it another shot tomorrow.
Yes, we will. We'll be on the ice 1:15 to 2:15. The boys are in training. I've been on the treadmill for the last couple of weeks, so who knows? Maybe I'll get in shape someday.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. The way the NHL is going right now, they might need you. One or two might need you. Non-COVID player.
You got it. Listen, we got great guests today. Stefan Carnegie, and we had the little joke off. We see Dale Carnegie's in the bloodline.
Well, we could always take him to New York and go to Carnegie Hall.
Oh, now we're really getting corny. He kind of looks like one of those professional, like he looks like a professor once we get him up here. And Dave Beaudin is on right after, and we're going to be talking with him. He is the son of the legendary first original Jet, Norm Beaudin, and his brothers are good buddy, Greg Beaudin.
Oh, okay. I kind of figured there was a relation there. What did you see the latest of what the NHL, the PA, and owners have put out to the 4 divisions, 3 divisions of 8 and 1 division of 7?
Yes, I have, and my only comment is this. It doesn't matter what divisions they have, how they're going to intertwine it all together, and they're going to have bubbles and do all that sort of stuff. Unless we get control of the situation that we got. We're up again today. York Region's up to 200 today. Hospitals are asking people to shut down. I hope I'm wrong. I don't see the World Juniors or the National Hockey League getting off on the timing that they think.
I agree with you. Absolutely. You just take the 1 division of Boston, Buffalo, New Jersey, the Islanders, the Rangers, Philly, Pittsburgh, and Washington. You'd play each team 8 times, 4 times at home, 4 times on the road. Very tricky, man. Very tricky.
You know what? We'll deal with this on Saturday with our buddy Scott Taylor, where we talk with Taylor about everything NHL, and we'll talk to him about what his feelings are. Hey, every day counts. Almost every hour counts now. We've just learned another German player, I don't have his name off the top of my head, has tested positive. He will not be coming, one of their top players. So that'll be 3 of their top guys not making it.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. The only good thing is there will not be, it won't be held against a team. There won't be a relegation. So a team coming like a Kazakhstan or Switzerland thinking we got serious trouble, they won't be relegated.
Yeah, and I don't think Sweden's going to probably make it. They've lost their head coach and a couple of key players. Finland's under siege. I just don't see it. Hey, good comment from our producer, Val Silva. Val, always love having you out. How does the NHL deal with the trade deadline with players crossing the border? That will be a Scott Taylor question. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our buddy, Stefan Carnegie. What's going on?
Gentlemen, thank you very much for having me. It's a divine pleasure.
I'll tell you what, you are outdoing yourself. At least I've got a nice shirt. Paul's got his usual, I guess it's an Adidas hoodie. And
Adidas sponsors me to wear this on the show. They don't pay me, but they sponsor me.
Well, it looks great.
Stefan, you look great. I'll tell you what a good looking look. Now let's get deep into it. You are a on skills and development trainer at the King Heights Academy. This is obviously brought to you by King Heights Academy and the great people at Paramount Sports, where I know you are very active. I see you almost every day, always a smile on your face. You bring a wealth of knowledge, dedication, and professionalism to King Heights, no question, along with 17 years as player development. Let's get right into it. I know Paul has a couple of questions when it comes to the GTHL situation that you're involved with. I want to hit you right off the bat. How important is King Heights Academy when you have a young man or woman in our program? How important is education to them?
I think there's no substitute for education. I grew up in a household that was very high in education, for both me and my sister, and to be able to not only continue your education through athletic development for me personally was through hockey, and to kind of work off one another. I was an NCAA athlete, and I had the opportunity of a lifetime. I went to Morrisville State in the SUNY division. I was there from 06 to 2010. And growing up, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for me to pursue a career in Ontario, whether it be playing in the OHL or perhaps playing professional. The only opportunity that I would have had was to continue my education and use hockey as a way to continue my education. And the opportunities that have been presented to myself because of my educational background and because of my ability to play hockey, I think are second to none. And I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for that opportunity that was presented to myself, primarily because of education.
Yeah. So, Paul, just before you go and ask your question, I have to add to this because this is an incredible resume. After his junior playing career had ended, Stefan was afforded an athletic scholarship where he attended Morrisville State College in SUNY division from 2006 to 2010. Stefan was awarded the International Student of the Year Award in 2008, Paul. So this kid is not just a good hockey mind, but a scholar, and an award given to the, and as well, the Bridget Public Cover Award that is given to the Mustang athlete who best exemplifies hard work, leadership, and commitment. And I can tell you, as all three of those, Paul, because I see him working the rinks over at King Heights Academy.
Yeah, that's impressive. And Stefan, I personally, want to tip my hat to you if I had my hat on, because I think the education part of it is incredible. Anytime I had a chance to talk to any type of parent about their kid and say, if you can, listen, hockey's going to find you. If you're a good enough player, they're going to find you anywhere in the world nowadays. But if you can get an education along with your hockey program, I think that's incredible. I wanted to ask you about the situation right now. You have the program going on. The ice is great over at King Heights and Paramount. But then the players that work with you and play with you during the day from the school, the GTHA, what's the situation with the G right now with COVID? Are you finding the players like more down because they don't know where the season's going to go?
Absolutely. And I think depending on what jurisdiction you lie in, fortunately, I live in York Region, and York Region is allowed to have 10 children on the ice training right now. A lot of children I find are becoming a little bit frustrated, and they're failing to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Throughout the season, you're constantly working and training, and you're building up for perhaps a playoff run, for perhaps a tournament run or an away tournament with everybody, or perhaps the OHL draft or an opportunity to be recruited for an NCAA program. With no timetable or template for return right now, you see children finding difficulty motivating themselves. And I think that's where a situation in a school such as King Heights pays dividends huge. I think the fact that we can help facilitate development through communication and through education, and help keep children motivated, help keep pushing children forward to help them take that next step in their development, whether that be on ice, whether that be in the classroom, whether that be in the weight room, help them continue their progression as a minor hockey player. So when we do come back to hockey, they have put themselves in a position to take that next step and continue to prosper.
Well, fantastic answer. Listen, on the right-hand side, we have a couple of comments. I just want to throw them out as we go along here. Hans Shoppy's our European correspondent. Thank you very much. Shoppy, we do know that Reichel has been eliminated from the German team, but also Val has looked this up. This is the gentleman I was talking about. The German player is Elias Lindner. So that means Germany has lost 3 very, very good, talented players. And Jay Cohen has come on. We need NHL. Put me on the 4th line. 2 minutes per game. And of course, Julian N. Hi, Coach. How are you? All right. So talk to me a little bit about, obviously, one of your greatest assets as a player developer is finding the way to put kids in a position or young athletes in a position of success. I was a player coach. I learned that at a young age. Well, I was young when I started being a player coach. At 28, I wasn't really a coach prior to that, but I got the opportunity. And that's one of the things that I had to learn really quickly as a player coach. I had to make sure that I put players that had the talent and had the vision to be, say, on the power play, and not put them maybe on the penalty killing because they were a little bit too offensive. So if I put them on the power play or penalty killing, I didn't put them at an opportunity to succeed, and it burnt me a couple of times. So it took me probably a good year to understand that is so important. And that's obviously through communication and through your passion. How do you pick somebody and say, okay, listen, your skill set is this. I'm going to put you in this, and this. And we need to work on those other areas that maybe you're not strong on.
I think you said it. It goes back to communication and having the athletic background with academics. The one thing that I learned being a student athlete was the value of communication. And I think everything revolves around that. If you can have children buy in to what you're trying to teach them, the development that you're trying to facilitate, and explain to them how you can help them take that next step based on where they're at right now, I think that's instrumental to where they're headed down the road. Oftentimes, children are put in a position or they're put in a role that they don't agree with, and they're not understood why. And there's no communication as to what their next step is going to be. And they feel that they're stuck in that role, in that avenue for the foreseeable future. If you can help children understand where their next step would be, help them get that next step, and then help them prosper being in that next step, I think it's so vital for them, and that breeds confidence. And when children, young aspiring hockey players, become confident in what they're doing, I think the sky's the limit for them. And I think it's all around confidence through communication, through helping them understand how they can take that next step and walking them through that. Oftentimes, the lack of communication or the unknowing how to communicate with certain children or coaches or parents sometimes stifles children and sends the wrong message when, in fact, you're trying to get them to where they want to be just with the way that you feel that they can be, and they come to you for that. Sometimes I find, especially with being at the prep school, you see children feel that they're capable of this. And it's not that they're not capable of it, but the way they need to go in terms of being able to achieve that, I think changes based on their age, based on their skill set, based on the situation that they're in and the program they're in. And I think that there's no substitute for communication when it comes to situations such as that.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you about scholarships. Scholarships is something as a parent, you're looking, you send your kid, you're hoping that they'll be good enough, sport-wise and academic-wise, to get a scholarship. How do you find that with your kids you're working with, the scholarship route?
The first thing for me was finding a program at a school that I wanted to take, that I was interested in, that would kind of set me up for future success. I was fortunate that I had a few Division III schools that were interested in me at the time. I chose Morrisville because I was interested in their business management program. Oftentimes, I find children are a little bit green when it comes to what the NCAA route has to offer. Now, living in Ontario, the big allure is playing in the OHL and being drafted and playing in the GTHL and moving on from there. I'm 5'5", growing up playing in my draft year, I think it was 155, 160 pounds max, soaking wet. There was no opportunity for me to aspire to play in the OHL. If I wanted to continue playing hockey and continue the passion, it would have to be down this specific route. When I was playing Bantam for the Vaughan Kings, I had an opportunity to tour Michigan University. I walked through the dressing room, met Red Berenson. We watched a couple of their games. Mike Camilleri had played for the Vaughan Kings and then graduated to play Junior A and then to Michigan University. And I saw the allure around the arena. The band was there. The fans were there. Children and students had a pride playing for the school that they represented, a pride playing for where they went through education. And then when I went to tour my alma mater, you got to see the pride on campus, very similar to how children have pride in playing for their minor hockey organizations or their OHL teams and stuff to that extent. And then when I further researched what the academics was all about and how I could continue being in the minor hockey community through education, it was very alluring for me. It was, I don't want to say it was the only option I had, but growing up being 5'5" in an era where minor hockey in the OHL was built on more aggression than skill set at the time. It was a little bit different.
Stefan, did you ever look at the Europe as an option? Because, Gouche had an incredible 16-year career in Germany. Because I think Europe would be very open to that smaller, fast player.
I did a little bit. Now, when I went to Morrisville State, I was a 21-year-old freshman. I was a little bit more mature, and I think something that goes a little bit unnoticed as children go and receive athletic and academic scholarships, it's a bit more of a mature crowd. My roommate was a year older than me at the time. So when I graduated, I was 24. I wasn't sure that there was very many options for me at that time. And having, grown up in the minor hockey community, you dedicate everything you have to your craft at the time and every blood, sweat, and tears that you can into it. When it was all said and done, I stepped back, took a deep breath, and realized that the next step for me, or what I had a passion for, was to get back into minor hockey development. Growing up, my parents worked endlessly to afford me the opportunity to grow up and attend hockey academies and hockey programs. And having worked there as I was there as a student, it was definitely something that I really wanted to get back into. Oftentimes, I've said this to my aspiring young hockey players: you can't fake this. You can't pretend that you want to be in the arena coaching or being a program developer or being a minor hockey facilitator. You have to have a burning desire for this. You have to have a passion that runs deep inside you to be able to give back the information that had been given to you from players and coaches and trainers before you. And I think that's one of the things that was very alluring to me, especially when the opportunity to work at King Heights presented itself, to not only give back, but to present my program to the next generation of aspiring young hockey players.
Well, you certainly do that, obviously, with the great people, with Jeff and the boys. Obviously, the Siska brothers are always entertaining, and Lachlan, Anthony Nigro. And of course, you've got some great ambassadors with Darcy Tucker and Jim Thompson, who's always there. So you've really got a good, solid foundation of leadership there. Listen, Val comes up with a good point here. No matter what level you are in sport, reality is no one likes to do the training. I wouldn't say no one likes to do the training, but we have learned in the past, you've been in a situation where if you're going to go to that next level, you got to put the work in. And you know what? I learned when I got to Germany, it took a lot of hard work to get to Germany. It took even more work to stay there because every day somebody was vying for your job. And if you didn't stay at that high level, somebody else would be taking it. So I'd like to hear comments on how do you take that delicate approach from a young boy or girl that's on the ice and you see they have a lot of talent, but maybe they just don't have that drive that's needed?
That's a great question. Growing up, I played junior C for the Uxbridge Bruins. In the dressing room, there was painted "winning is a lifestyle." At the time, I was a 17-year-old, just elated to be playing junior hockey. Really didn't understand what that was. As I began to get older, the preparation you put in to get the results you want is endless. Winning is a lifestyle in the fact that what you're doing takes up all of your time. If you want to be successful, especially in minor hockey development, there is no substitute for hard work. And I found the harder I worked, the more time and effort I put into strength and conditioning, to my on-ice abilities, to practicing, to anything that I did revolved around hockey, the harder I worked, the more opportunities I got for myself. And I think sometimes that goes unnoticed, where children feel that opportunities are going to be presented to them just because they play for X organization or just because they made a specific team. What goes unnoticed oftentimes are the children who play for an organization or a team that's not very good, but are endless in their work ethic and their commitment to excellence. Every single time they're on the ice, they focus on getting better that specific time. And then the next opportunity they get to be on the ice, they do just that. And being in a pandemic right now where the light at the end of the tunnel is tough to see, that's something that we're constantly here trying to preach. No matter what the situation is, you prepare as if there's going to be a game or a practice or a scout or an opportunity to move up the ladder tomorrow. And get better every single day you're on the ice. No excuses, no explanations. Nothing comes between you and getting better at your craft in that specific day. And I see children here who show up every day with their work boots and their hard hat, just ready to get to work, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in the weight room, and whether it's on the ice. They show up when, oftentimes their team right now isn't practicing because the city's on lockdown, or there's no GTHL season to be going about, and there's no OHL top prospects game. They're working just because they have a passion for this and they believe that they have something. And I think that's, a gift that's very hard to come by. And I think that's something that we here are trying to preach every single day to the aspiring young players.
You are watching King's Corner, of course, brought to you by Gouche Live, featuring Paul Rosen, and of course the Hockey News, along with Sports Illustrated with Stefan Carnegie. Listen, Stefan, I want to take it a little bit different. I got a great comment coming out of Australia. Michael Tucker, a big listener to us. A junior coach is super important. Teach them the basics, but more importantly, allow them to enjoy themselves. In their local footy team, that's AFL, too much emphasis is put on winning and not enough on developing a passion for the game. Obviously, Australia is very young in the game of ice hockey, but they have AFL football, which is a rugged sport in itself. The emphasis is all about winning. How do you balance that? First, you have a young boy or girl at King Heights. You've got to balance them with the fact that, they've got schooling and they've got sport. And then you've got to, as they leave you and go to the GTHL, they have to determine, between that balance of winning, having fun, and advancing. Can you give us kind of how a person can look at the winning versus education and obviously growing?
I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've worked with programs who have had 1 and 2 wins for the entire duration of the season. And I've been fortunate enough to work with programs that have gone on to win city championships. I think every single time you're at the arena, you're putting your program in a position to succeed by what you're trying to teach the children and how you're trying to teach the children and the communication that you have to the children. A lot of my practices are a little bit different. I try to teach concepts, and I try to teach children ways to get better and in situations to be opportunistic through small ice games, through scrimmages, through flow drills that put you in those positions. Now, having said that, not every child is going to understand concepts at the same rate. I think this is where a minor hockey developer, and I think where we at King Heights set ourselves a little bit differently than other schools and other minor hockey programs. We're constantly communicating concepts to children. If you can have the children's ear in such a way where you don't feel like you're dictating to them, but you feel like you're one of them, where you feel like you are just as much of the program as they are, and we will win and we will lose as a team. Teams that we've had minimal success, we've gotten better every single step of the way. And the fun comes through the process of improvement. I often tell children, the way we develop and the way we train and the way we have fun changes as we get older. You don't have fun coming to the rink because you want to joke around with your buddy in the corner while the practice is going on. You have fun through competition. You have fun through hard work, through development, through watching your development. And when you go home at the end of the night, there's only you have to choose from to say, did I do everything I can to improve myself? And did I make the improvement fun for myself? Did my program director make the improvement fun for myself? And what did we do to help me get there? And oftentimes, you see minor hockey children, especially right now with the pandemic, there's pointing fingers. Well, we can't do this because of this. And well, the arena is only allowing this, so I don't have to give my 100% effort. I think right now coaches are more vital than ever, constantly re-preaching the message to the children in a way that has them gravitating to the program. I am none like any other coach where we're just, I'm just longing to be back behind the bench, the ebbs and flows of a season where games matter, where you're going on away tournaments with the program, developing throughout the course of the year. Having said that, that's not an option right now. And I think we all have to adjust and readapt and find new ways to motivate children and keep finding ways to keep children coming to the rink with that smile on their face, invested in not only the program, but their craft and invested in their development.
Wow. Well done. Well said.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, you know what, Stefan, last question to you, and I'm really I love what you guys are doing there. You know, I haven't had a chance to be over there that often the last little while. I'll be there tomorrow at the rink, and you know, how much fun is it for you to know that, you know, yeah, you have a job, but you're doing something that is really benefiting these kids. This program at King Heights is incredible. The kids, the boys and girls, are learning life skills, not just sports. How good does that make you feel?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to find it difficult to articulate how elated I am with not only the opportunity that I have here, but the opportunity to work with the young aspiring hockey players that we have. At the end of the day, I review the program that I put forth for the children, and then I go about preparing the program for the next day. And having worked with the children now from the beginning of the year up until almost Christmas, you have an idea for where their development is and where you think their next step is, and drills you feel that they will gravitate to that will help them prosper. To present a drill to a child and watch him go through it, or her, and watch them develop, watch them push themselves with a smile on their face because they know what they're trying to achieve is the same thing I'm trying to get them to achieve, and we're both on the same page. I don't think there's any substitute for that. And, you know, oftentimes things like that go unnoticed because of the enormity of minor hockey and how busy our schedules are. But now being able to take a deep breath and really look at what matters the most, especially to the minor hockey community, this couldn't be more of a rewarding opportunity for not only myself, but I think the children who are persevering through the pandemic.
Well, I'll tell you what, Paul, there's no question we understand why he was awarded the International Student of the Year in 2008. He was using some words that I think were over 4 syllables. We had to get the dictionary out to figure out what they think he was talking about. No, really, very impressive. I really love what I've just heard. But I'm going to change it up just a little bit as we let you go. You've been an incredible guest. I really love it. So we've got a couple of your friends. Here's what we do. He's saying, way to go, Stefan. Then we've got our buddy saying, Stefan Carnegie for Prime Minister. And we've got more eloquent than Joe Biden. And somebody said just as boring. That's not true. I just got in there. But Paul, Movember was here. Look at that beard.
Yeah, that's much more than a mustache.
Closer for you guys.
That's much more than a mustache.
It is King's Corner, achieving excellent together, which we're doing. What a great logo, King Heights Academy, which you're a big part of it. But Paul, He looks like a professor. He talks like a professor. And look at where he came from.
I've got a little more hair on the face now.
Yeah. It grows pretty quick on you. I'm not sure my girlfriend's the biggest fan of it right now, but it'll be gone soon enough.
That's right. You look great. Hey, listen, final part. Great comment coming from David Walter Carlson. How do you establish a proper mindset or mental toughness and discipline with your young students and players? For example, how to overcome adversity. Just what we're going through right now would be COVID. Focus on the big picture. I think you brought some of that forth. And prepare themselves for life after hockey or sports, a sports career.
I think the biggest thing is having children believe that you have their back and have them believe that you are there for them in every step of the way. A lot of times children feel that they want to be a part of the program, but they're not sure why. Sometimes growing up, I felt like I was just a number on the program where the coach, couldn't care less if I had an opportunity, if I wasn't there, or whatever the situation may be. I think the communication between the children that you're privileged enough to coach, the privileged enough to bought into your program is next level. If they feel that you are committed to them and helping them make the next step, and you can prove it to them through showing them how to develop, how to be more successful, not only on the ice or off the ice, or how to show them to turn into mature young adults, I think that goes a long way. That's something that can take place on the ice that transfers off the ice. And the one thing I tell the children that I'm privileged enough to coach is that there's no substitute for education and the importance of communication. What you do now sticks with you forever. And the way that you prepare yourself for this upcoming game or for next season or for the next step is just as vitally as important. And there's no substitution through hard work.
Paul, you and I couldn't have said it better.
Well, I could have never said it, but that was really good.
All right, just as we go out, Robert Wine said, "Wow, a before and after picture. The bearded beauty. That's a good." Well said, Stephen. Winning and losing are both vital lessons in life. Junior coaches are not celebrated enough. Without them, the stars tomorrow may not even be found. Very true. Way to go, Stephen. Excellent, Stephen. Why do I keep calling you Stephen? Stefan. Come on, Paul. You're supposed to pick. This is almost like that issue, on Hockey Night's Corner there, whatever. I'm making mistakes. You're supposed to pick up on it.
Well, you only said Stephen twice, and that's pretty good. So you said Stefan about 8 times. Normally,
Hey, Stefan, thank God you don't have a Russian name. We'd be in real.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to come on. It was a delight, and I really look forward to it.
Listen, Kings Heights Academy is so blessed to have you as one of the trainers and one of the people that are leading the future at their academy, but also hockey in general. What you've presented to us today is absolutely spectacular. Really glad that we had you on today.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
thanks, Stefan.
And Carnegie, the bearded beauty.
Have a great day, buddy.
You as well, gentlemen.
Why do I get locked in on certain things? Always calling people the wrong names, Stefan. Sorry about that.
I'm not sure. We went over it just before coming on too.
That's why it happens. Okay, Polar. I can't get this name wrong.
You're
If
a
I get
beauty.
this name wrong, I'm fired.
Yeah.
Greg Beaudin, his brother.
Yeah, I didn't know there was another Beaudin. I knew of senior Papa Beaudin and Greg. I didn't know there was another one.
It's Beaudin.
Beaudin.
I
Beaudin.
call him Beaudin just to throw
I
him.
always call him Beaudin or Beaudin. You just call him Beaudin and made me think of Brad Beaudin.
Yes. Hey, I was thinking more of Johnny Bauer. Hey, think about this. That kid is just absolutely brilliant. Like when I see him around the rink, he's saying he's 5'5". He walks around there like he's 5'10". He's got this personality plus. He's very good with the kids. I've seen him on the ice. He articulates. The biggest difference between some coaches are the fact that they know everything, but now you've got to articulate it and make sure that player is taking what he's saying and delivering it on ice.
Yeah, there's no doubt that he definitely communicates very well.
Dave Beaudin's making sure that I call him Beaudin. He's already texting me in the background. I will not forget that name, Dave. I hope I don't call you Greg. Listen, we're so blessed to have Dave on today. We've had his brother on several times. We love him. He's a regular. We've had his father, Norm Beaudin, arguably one of the top Winnipeg Jets of all times, but was also the original Winnipeg Jets. Think about that, being the son of Norm Beaudin. We've got Dave Beaudin. Dave, what's going on?
Good afternoon, boys. How are you doing?
Hey, Dave. Nice sweaters behind you.
Yes.
Yes, we do have some. It's looking at my watch. It's 72 degrees and sunny here in Florida.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
had to throw that in, eh?
Hold on, hang on. Wait a sec. You didn't notice that, Stefan and Steven, did you? All that mess up? Paul's supposed to cue me. Oh, gosh. 8,972 COVID positive tests.
We're in Florida.
Yeah, in the last hour.
Probably.
Just joking. You tell us what's going on down there.
We haven't had that here. No, we're business as usual. I think we only shut down our rinks for about 10 days. And that's a big difference between what you'll see in Canada or maybe in northern USA is 90% of the hockey rinks down here in Florida are privately owned.
Right.
So they are in control of their own destiny. And you know how it is. There's bills to pay at the end of each month. And the only way they can do it is if they're selling ice and they've got programming going. So we have our high school league going. We've got our rec leagues going. We've got the Florida International Hockey League going, camps, clinics, tournaments. So we're pretty, I don't think we've missed too much of a step.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that I don't know if you had an opportunity. I know you were there for a few minutes. Stefan's the future of coaching. He's a young kid, very articulate, I was mentioning. And I want to get right into that because you have a vast experience, not only being a player, a coach, a facility manager, and also a trainer. You have got your own hockey schools. Your father got you and Greg up very well. I know you're involved with Floorball. You are Mr. Hockey, whether it's floorball, ice hockey, ball hockey. But after hearing Stefan speak, he really made an important point to me: the passion that is passed down from your coach to yourself, your father to yourself, drives us to be better. Love to hear obviously you being the son of one of the all-time greatest Winnipeg Jets.
Well, it started actually in Winnipeg, and when my dad moved to Winnipeg and signed with the Jets, he was on the line with Bobby Hall right away. So, Saturday mornings I used to go to the hockey rink or the Winnipeg Arena with my dad for their morning skates, and I was playing, pickup hockey on the Winnipeg Arena with Ted Green's kids, Joe Daly's kids, Brett Hall, Blake Hall, Bart Hall, my brother. So we had a pretty good shinny going on. But then we got to stay and kind of watch the sort of the culture of the Winnipeg Jets at that time, who were, a World Hockey Association team, but they were trying to bring professional hockey in Canada to another level. And Ben Haskins and the management did a great job with that. And it kind of left an impression on Winnipeg and on me, because I got to play and grow up in Europe playing youth hockey, and then in Winnipeg playing minor hockey and then junior hockey. I got picked up a few times in Winnipeg rinks off the ice and carted off into ambulances. So I broke a few bones, but I was always kind of, even though I had a cast on, I still watched hockey. I still watched my dad, and I was connected to the sport, and it was, part of my DNA, right? So that the coaching part kind of led me to kind of continue on, especially when I came to Florida, because I got hurt very bad in college hockey. On my last college hockey game, it was I broke my arm in 7 places, and we had a 15-hour bus ride from Lake Superior State University back to Columbus, Ohio, and my arm was in 7 pieces.
Oh,
yeah, I had to kind of cut my hockey career short. And it was my seventh surgery. It was the 5th time I'd broken an arm.
how old were you when this?
22 years old. I was a senior.
But they didn't, Dave. They didn't take you to the hospital there, or
well, they took X-rays in Michigan.
Yeah,
which is it's in the town of Sault Ste. Marie, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the American side, but they took X-rays and put me on some painkillers and put me on the bus with the team, and we won the game, and put us into the college CCHA finals at Joe Louis Arena the following weekend. But I had to travel with a cast on, so I missed that last kind of couple of games. But I played 158 college games. I loved it. But for sure, for me to go to the next level, I had to take a different approach to it, and it was coaching, and I felt I think I actually got better after Ohio State in my years playing college hockey, because you have to look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible what some people will do with an injury, and you're talking break your arm in 7 places, and then a forever 12-hour bus. Well, probably felt like 5 days. With the pain that you're in. I want to ask you what's going on. We talked a little about what's going on in Florida where you are. How is it dealing with the parents, dealing with people coming to the rink, and still, I know the way it is in Canada, we have this, COVID is a very scary thing. How are you finding it you're dealing with people?
So, I've managed 4 or 5 hockey rinks in Tampa, and I've been part of pretty much the construction team in all of them. So I when I go into a rink, I see it at a different level. So, my eyes are like a manager. And what I have noticed is the facilities have had to pick up their game. And the game for me is keeping the building clean and flowing, and using the CDC rules, and the state of Florida has kind of enacted a few COVID policies. And everybody here, as far as the rink management, ownership, they've been following through with that. So even though we do get to use locker rooms, we had a patch of about a week where we had to dress in our cars. I know they're doing that in Michigan and Minnesota. They have actually shut those states down. So some of my clients have moved back. But as far as Florida goes, everybody's kind of like, all the managers, they know there's a lot of focus on them. So they've stepped up their game as far as keeping the building clean, and the parents with masks on, and coaches. Now, I'm coaching in the Lightning High School Hockey League, and we're actually mandated through the NHL bubble to adapt to their policies and procedures with the COVID. So for our practices, we're wearing masks as far as coaches go. Locker rooms, we're masked up, and then on the bench, we're wearing our masks. So
Really? Okay.
we're following all, and the Lightning were very diligent in making sure that their high school hockey program was underneath the NHL kind of bubble environment.
Wow.
So we don't have that here. I'm watching our coaches' kids run freely on the ice, and I just there was an article that published in the Washington Post. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but basically said we're starting now to understand that maybe ice rinks are a petri dish. So, and we're finding that out in Sweden and Finland right at this moment. Listen, Greg, I wanted to go through. Obviously, we didn't get a chance because I kind of got off on a different tangent with you right off the bat. But
You got to jump in. Yeah. Gouche, I'm supposed to save you, so I got to jump in. You said Greg, Dave.
I know. I'm just reading Greg's thing. Dave Beaudin, you played in Switzerland and Winnipeg. What a difference, Paul. You would know the difference between that. Dave, of course, Switzerland, and then you end up in Winnipeg. How big of a change was that?
Well, the transition was pretty simple for me, because I had 13 years. My first 13 years of my life, I was in 12 different cities. My dad played on at least 12 different teams during my first few years. So the not really the pick up and go, but the hockey scene was, hey, we're spending our summers in Saskatchewan, and we're wherever my dad was playing in Cleveland or Kansas City or St. Louis or Memphis. I was actually born in Memphis, Tennessee, when my dad was with the Red Wings organization. So he had a trade from the Montreal Canadiens to the Red Wings, and he got sent down with Glenn Sather.
Oh, wow.
And down in Memphis, and I was born there.
So now you play junior hockey in Winnipeg with the St. James Canadians. I played for the St. Boniface Saints and Riels, and you threw some names out here. Darren Boyko, one of the all-time with that. What a player! Like, he was unbelievable. I got to only play a little bit more in celebrity games, and I see him quite often at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Mark McKay. I played with Mark in Germany. We had our jersey retired together on the same night back in Timminoferstrand. And the one guy that was unbelievable, and Paul, I'm sure you're going to know this name, Mike Ridley. There's a kid that went straight out of university and played long in the National Hockey League. Tell us about those three guys, like really good people, really good hockey players.
Well, yeah, Mike Ridley was, he was off the charts. In Winnipeg at the time, he was doing box lacrosse just to kind of toughen him up. And he was so silky smooth, he could get in and out. And I think he put over 200 points up in my last year junior hockey. And we talked quite often, and I said, hey, I'm going to go play college hockey at Ohio State. You should come with me. And he opted to go to the University of Manitoba, I think. And Barry Trotz left our league that year. And I think Barry migrated to the University of Manitoba and then took over that program as a coach.
Hey, listen, Dave Beaudin, I have fond memories of Barry Trotz.
Yes.
He hit me so hard. I think it still affected me. I had my head down at center ice. I was playing for the University of Winnipeg. And Barry Trotz, against Mike, I was actually playing against Mark McKay and Mike Ridley. And Barry got me with my head down. And he was a truck. Like he was.
Oh yeah.
He was
fire hydrant. Yeah.
tougher than nails. Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, fire hydrant. That's a perfect way to put it. Yeah, so I want to ask you about your thoughts on the game right now. Gouche and I talk a lot about the current game and where we are, and if we're going to start in the 15th. And, obviously from Florida, with Tampa winning the Stanley Cup, finally getting their cup. What's your thoughts on the game these days, Dave?
Well, I really like where it's gone. I think Tampa Bay Lightning definitely showed not only North America, but the whole world hockey community that if you can get guys working as a unit, 5 guys, having your back end involved in hockey. There's some tremendous superstars. Braden Point just, he took it to another level, and it allowed, when you always have 1 or 2 guys like that, it allows the guys like Kucherov to kind of hide in the weeds and then pop out, score a goal. Steven Stamkos pop out. He worked hard in the corners. But Braden's kind of set the tone. So I like what Tampa did, and I think I see a lot of NHL coaches and clubs trying to imitate what's going on with John Cooper and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So a feather on the cap as far as that organization goes. Mr. Vinnick owns the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he has created this unbelievable culture and a full transformation of downtown Tampa that you wouldn't believe. It is such a joy to go down to the Tampa Bay Amalie Arena to watch a game. We're actually playing high school hockey in there at the moment because there is no NHL, so a bonus to us. But the facility is top notch. They've gone above and beyond to make sure that, this is not a hockey market. So we're talking Florida born and raised people, gravitating to hockey. And, I'm very proud to be in this community because the Tampa Bay Lightning are doing such great things in the community too.
Absolutely. I had a chance to go to a Tampa game with Gouche when we were in Tampa a few years ago. Yeah. So I did 2 things and then it'll be it for me. But how was it like when they won? Obviously it was a bubble situation. They fly home from Edmonton. How was it being in that Tampa situation when they came in? And I think they had a parade, if I'm not it wasn't huge, but they had a parade. And then the follow-up of listening to the potential of them letting Stamkos go, that talk right afterwards. Talk about both of those.
Well, so I remember the 2004 Tampa run. It was quite extraordinary. They won the Cup, 2004. That's in June, and the city was electric. Fast forward the next year, the NHL. Let me just kind of transition there too. So what I was impressed about with 2004 is we had such an incredible momentum path with youth hockey. The community, kids were coming to the rinks. Parents were bringing just normal kids that were playing right field on a baseball diamond to the hockey rink. They wanted to learn to skate and play hockey. They loved Marty St. Louis. They loved Vinny Lecavalier. So they had all these idols. My son wants to be a hockey player. Now, 2005 rolls around. A couple months later, the whole NHL locks out.
Right.
So we lost a bit of the momentum. They transitioned, got hockey back in 2006, and they just did their best. Tampa was already an elite team, and they had a couple of different ownership groups come in. But when Mr. Vinnick took it over, the whole culture changed. It's phenomenal. Now this year, when they did win the Cup, they came back and they did a boat parade, and that boat parade was second to none. The guys, there was two team members on every boat, and there must have been about 50 boats plus some coaches, and they just went down the downtown Tampa on boats, and people were lined up on both sides. It was phenomenal to see. It wasn't that the ordinary ticker tape a bus parade kind of thing.
Right.
Tampa did it right with jet skis and boats.
Right. And then what about Stamkos, which we heard almost instantly that they were thinking about, letting him go.
Well, I don't think he's going anywhere. I have some friends in the community. I know, he's married now. He's got family here. This is his home, I believe, and I see that with Vinny Lecavalier. Marty St. Louis did the best he could, but he had to take his kids north to Connecticut, and so he relocated up there. But a lot of guys that stayed. Dmitry Afeniskanov is has stayed here. Brian Bradley stayed here. David Anderchuk has stayed here. So we have a very strong hockey community with our alumni, with the Tampa Bay alumni, and John Tucker too. So it's the foundation has been set, and it's such a great area that I'm forecasting, I would say, in the next 4 to 5 years, there'll be some first-round draft picks very soon to be out of Florida. I know we've got the Hughes kid. He was in Orlando playing youth hockey, and there's some other kids at Gaithersburg out of Parkland, which is Miami. He's done quite well in the first round. But there's a good crop of U.S. players, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the top 2-3 rounds. We just had one out of Tampa go to the Winnipeg Jets. I've worked with him and coached him. Nathan Smith. He's playing college hockey now at Mankato State. Yeah, but he was the third round. I mean, that's pretty. It's pretty special to come out of Tampa, 90th pick 2 years ago.
Impressive. Listen, 28 years in Tampa, coaching and managing ice facilities. You work with the grassroots development, of course, as you've just mentioned. Some of the names that you've worked with. You've started over 10 leagues in Florida, which is, again, my hat to tip it off to you. I know that you were part of the Wayne Gretzky's Hockey School. Your brothers always talked about it, and the involvement that you've had. And, of course, you've been working with a kid named Pavel Barber. I was going to say brewery. Thank God I didn't screw up there. Dave, and, all across Canada, U.S., not only with ice hockey, but also with floorball. Is there any type of brother rivalry between, Greg's a smooth talker, good-looking dude, knows his stuff, and you look like the elder statesman, a little more reserved, a little more, I don't want to say articulate, but more down to earth. Am I on something here or no?
No, listen, I'm just trying to stay young. My dad's 79. Is true. Norm. He's playing twice a week.
It's unbelievable.
There's no way getting around it. You've got to stay young. So if I get to hang out with some young guys like Pavel Barber, I call myself, between my brother and him and myself, we were his Uber driver for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Because he just got his driver's license, I think. Yeah, maybe last year or the year before. But yeah, we had some good fun and staying in some Airbnbs across the country and sharing some stories. And, again, it was bringing the passion to Phoenix, to Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, California. We did a 2-week tour in a Winnebago through Florida, Pavel Barber, myself, and Greg. So, do we get paid a lot? No, but, we have this passion, and I don't know if I would stay in it as long if I wasn't an education background and I spent a time as a teacher. So now it allows me to kind of get my message out really quick, so that I'm not wasting kids' times. It's $450 an hour here for ice.
I know, and it states right here too. You're a private hockey instructor in Tampa. You focus on stick handling and shooting techniques. There's not many guys that can stick handle like Barber. That's for damn sure. No.
Why
is he so good? Like, why? We've seen, Paul, you've seen some of those guys. Robbie Shrimp. Yeah. And that he can do with a puck. And of course, we got a little. Obviously, I think it was Zach Bell also. Pretty quick with the stick, but Barber just has this extra. It's just another level.
Well, yeah, Greg will tell you, and I've shot a lot of video through cameras, and we would live Instagram quite often. We would be in a city like Kitchener, Ontario, doing a meet and greet with like 50 kids, and I would see him pick up a stick in front of 50 kids. Okay, Barber, your turn. Show these kids, and he would be doing things, and I'd be looking through the camera, and I would have to put the camera aside and make sure that it wasn't kind of a trick move, because what he was doing with the puck, flipping it 20 feet in the air and letting it sit flat on the blade, I'm like, and it's not even his stick. He just picked one out of the corner. So, Barber works on his craft every day, and he pushes himself. He pushes the boundaries, and I remember our first time in Phoenix. We sort of did one of those crash team practice. We didn't tell anybody we were going to jump on the ice. And it was like I was at a Justin Bieber concert. He would go to center ice, do one move, and here's 40 kids in Phoenix losing their mind. like, how do you do that move? And then he would just do it again and again and again. So as a shootout stick handler, he's very he's the best at his craft. That's for sure.
Yeah, and especially the guys that do it live, and there's a lot of guys out there that it's on the internet, and there's skeptical. Is it live, or did it take them 42 takes to get that one? The good guys are the ones that do it live.
Well, I'll tell you, we had Robert Shrimp. I've seen him live several times. We had him over in Sheffield 2 years ago, and he was doing his tricks for the fans, and they were just going absolutely crazy. So as he came off the ice, I had to touch the tape just to make sure it was Velcro or whatever. This kid, what they can, like a lacrosse, he can do like a lacrosse ball. All right, Dave, tell us what the future looks like in Tampa. Obviously, Tampa Bay winning the Stanley Cup under the COVID situation. Obviously, we don't know. It's helter-skelter again. We don't know when we're going to be coming out of this, even though, there's a prospect of a vaccine, but how long it'll take for us to become comfortable again in it. Your thoughts on the future of hockey in Tampa at this moment?
Yeah, so, talking just directly with COVID, I mean, hockey's a young sport, so a lot of the kids or that age group that I see every day at the rink, I'm lucky too, because I'm doing private lessons with young kids, and I'm doing a one-on-one, so I'm 30, 40 feet apart.
Yeah.
So I'm really not, breaking any rules. So when they come to my little training center, it's a great environment that I can teach and be properly distanced, but still get my message over. And they get the reps. They love it. As far as moving forward, yes, there is an older population in Florida. I just don't see them at the rink. So a safe zone to me would be what's going on in facilities, as long as buildings are being kept clean and we're kind of abiding by the rules. So there are some, you have to social distance inside as far as the stands go, but I haven't seen any kind of anything or any people go offside with it. So it's encouraging to see.
Hey, listen, just before we let you go, obviously your brother, Greg, is a huge floorball guy, as are you, Dave. We know that you guys love the game of floorball. Talk to us a little bit about that, the advancement of floorball, what's it doing down in the States. Your brother is the poster child for floorball. So, Greg, tell us, Dave, all the intricacies of floorball right now.
I always take this, it's always about takeaways and what you've learned. So I like to watch and listen. And I was in Edmonton, Alberta with the Wayne Gretzky Hockey School the first year. We did a 2-week stint. And the exit interview with the parents, the mom, the dad who brought the young kid, always was, okay, what was your favorite part of the Wayne Gretzky School? And we had a great situation with our floorball program. The kids loved it. And I would say 90% of the exit interviews with families were floorball, connected with my son. He wasn't the best, ice player, but he could run and chase the ball. And we saw a lot of positive verbiage come out of parents about floorball. So it connected really good with hockey. And that's where we are in the U.S. too. When you can't get ice and it's $450 an hour,
Wow.
like my son's game on Saturday will be $750. Because that's referees, scorekeeper, and then the hour and 15 minutes of ice.
So that's like
$750 to play that game. So, I mean, if you can get floorball or incorporate some sort of floorball off ice training in your garage at home,
especially now, it's just perfect.
this is great. Yeah, do the trick. Yeah,
Dave, I got to ask you this because I don't want to forget it, but $450 an hour. Paul, think about that. It's 10 times what we get paid an hour. Or even more. Hang on, we don't even get paid. What are we talking about? How does a family afford you? On top of that, you don't have to divulge how much you get paid. But if it's $450 and you've got to get X amount of dollars, that's for 1 hour. How does the family afford a kid right now to be trained by just one trainer?
It's very difficult, But I see a lot of it in the United States. Long-term athlete player development is kind of like this. It's key, and it's being taught in schools. So the
Okay.
parents are already into that mode of, okay, maybe my son's not going to be a three season athlete, which means, hockey, baseball, football. They kind of just take one path. So they're just willing to throw all their chips into the hockey hat. And they're in that position where we're going to do whatever it takes. And it's a bit of paycheck hockey, that's for sure. You're writing checks to play hockey here every week, so it's not cheap. And then the dad usually plays in the men's league, and the daughter's figure skating in the figure skating club. So it's like a golf membership when you go sign up for the St. Charles Country Club, sort of out of Winnipeg.
Well,
right?
I could never afford that.
Yeah, I can't afford it, but
St. Boniface Golf Course.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, St. Boniface. Yeah, or a good track. Bel Air, remember? Yeah. So.
Oh, I love Bel Air.
Yeah. It's for families, and it's not cheap. I will say that. So, how can they do it? Yeah.
Well,
work hard.
Dave, I can't thank you enough for taking some time out. It sounds really exciting there, hearing kids in the background having fun shooting pucks. I know that we've been just informed we may be shut down next week at our rink. And I'll tell you what, sometimes I get upset. Paul, you and I have been at the rink. We have a little studio there, and we hear kids screaming and yelling and people, dropping their equipment off, and we kind of get upset at the odd time. But I'll tell you what, we will miss that sound if, in fact, we don't get the opportunity to see them over the holidays. Listen, as we leave, we want to thank you for all you do, Dave. Obviously, educating and teaching kids the game we both love dearly, Paul and I. So thank you for doing it down under. Obviously, you're a lot warmer than we are. We're not dealing with any snow yet to say degree, even though it looks like it's snowing here. But thank you for what you do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. Hopefully it'll warm up. Merry Christmas. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. You've been watching Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen. Rosie, that was a great interview with our buddy Dave Beaudin. We have had Dave Beaudin, Greg Beaudin, Norm Beaudin. Now we need the mother on.
Is there any other Beaudins we could have on?
Yeah, how many more Beaudins do we got?
Okay. Take care, Dave.
See you, buddy. Notice how I kept calling him Dave and Greg? See, I couldn't screw up at all.
We only did it, did really once. That's all. Yeah.
Hey, but look, there was a really good comment here. Chris came in here and said, this is about Stefan. His program is great. No other like it. Must send your kids to the programs. They will have a great time and improve their skills. What a great, obviously the following of him, people making these type of comments, obviously shows that he has a very loyal set of parents behind him. And that's so important, right? To do it, to put in the hours, it's one thing to get paid, as you know, in your old days, like when you went out and you did the work. The paycheck was good, but just seeing the smiles and the advancement of the kids makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely, 100%.
And finally, wow, $450 an hour. I remember paying $75 an hour in the 80s while in North Dakota, while in the services. Barry, get into the 2000s, kid.
That's U.S. too, eh? That's U.S. So, you're talking about $450 an hour. That's what 600 Canadian?
Easily. Hey, listen to this, Greg Beaudin. Thank you for getting your brother on. Dave, hey, one day we're going to have to get all three on, or we're going to get Nadine and Oral.
Sounds great.
What's going on today? What are you doing?
Nothing. Just going to take it easy. My sister had her gallbladder out this morning. She's not home from the hospital yet. So hopefully she'll come home and maybe make sure she's okay.
All right, buddy. You make sure you give her our love from Tony and I, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Gouche Live, featuring Paul Rosen, brought to you by those good people at Hockey News and Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, and Paramount Sports Management for 1:15 will be on.
We're on at 1:15.
Right, for an hour. Who we got a few guys coming out, or?
I'll be doing 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And we got lots. Dr. Tim, Wayne Primo will be right before us. So maybe we can sneak him on for a little.
He was after. Normally he's after us.
He's on. That's what I said, just after us.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's on just after us.
It's been those days, I'll tell you, just one of those days. Obviously, I left the rink and heard that our numbers are gone through the roof. So I'm really nervous. Don't forget, we're having an event December the 19th. And right now, it looks like it may be in jeopardy. But we will keep you well informed over the weekend. And we'll see you at 1:15, just before Wayne Primo.
You got it. Looking forward to it.
Bye, Paul.
Bye, Kerry.
Let's play some hockey.